Hi there, it's Babs here for Madamsew, and today I am here to talk to you about presser foot number 27, which is the edge joining foot. Now you can find that both on the back of the Madamsew packaging and also inside the stitch guide, which you can find here, which is described as the edge joining foot. It's known as either the edge stitching, edge joining, or stitch in the ditch foot. So that is number 27, which is right here. The numbers always tell you where you're going, and this is the foot itself, and it has this little blade in the center which you will use to guide you through the two panels that you'll be working each time, and it's simple to clip on using the bar attachment. And as an example of some of the things that you can create using this foot, we have some lace which is joined onto a regular piece of fabric. You can join two panels together, and obviously it will help you with your quilting. So let's have a look at how this foot actually works. The first method we're going to look at is the traditional stitch in the ditch process for quilting. You literally run the blade down the centre of two panels where they've already been sewn together along the seam, and that gives you a wonderfully even and very neat stitch that actually runs through the ditch between the panels, which you can see on this section here. When using your Madamsew stitch in the ditch foot, you will be placing the blade in the center of two panels of fabric to join them, and then sewing along that center line. The center blade makes everything just work perfectly without you having to think too much. You do need to do a little bit of prep in that you have to prepare the seam allowance and press that away. If not, you will end up working raw edge to raw edge, and even if they're pinked, as these samples are, there is a risk that you're running of the seam looking rather unattractive and ugly, and also then fraying in the future, which you obviously don't want. So what I'll be doing is sewing these prepped and pressed edges together using the Madamsew foot. We're going to set our stitch to a medium-sized zigzag, and then we can progress with joining the two panels. So we run a couple of stitches manually just to see, and then we can progress on. And so you simply make sure that these edges don't slide apart, and you sew. We have two seams beautifully joined, and on the reverse the seam is pressed open. A third way to use the stitch in the ditch presser foot from Madamsew is to join some lace to a piece of fabric. So you could add a decorative hem to skirts or blouses, handkerchiefs and the like. So we're going to continue to work with a zigzag stitch, and I've reduced the stitch length down because it's going to be harder to grab hold of the lace fabric that we're working with. So again, I start with a manual stitch just to make sure that everything is working as I'm expecting. And then I move on to sewing at normal speed, making sure that, as before, the lace and the fabric panel don't peel off to one side or the other. The foot does all the work for me, and I just need to make sure that everything lines up with that centre blade. And there I have my beautifully attached lace, front and back, and I have a nicely made seam allowance created as well with that stitch. I hope that tutorial was useful to you, and if so, please subscribe to the Madamsew channel for more tutorials and information on the Ultimate Presser Foot set. I'll see you around for the next tutorial. Bye for now.